Okay, that should be working. Is that working? There we go. My microphone had an update, and every time my microphone has an update, it decides that it's not the same device anymore. Love it. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Thanks, guy. Like, no, my mic's working. I'm like, what do you mean? And then I look up and I see that it's not registering volume. Whoopsie. Hello. Let's see. We got instances with the first Blaze with lots of cheese and boba. Cheese. Yummy. Guy, hello. Thanks for the like goal and the drop for the developer and such. Hello everybody. How are we doing? Double check that posted properly. It did. Streamcord is finally posting the YouTube links. Hooray! Hooray! Huzzah! Meow meow. Yeah. That's a new thing. That's nice. Stream Elements, thank you. I am gonna be working. I know I said I was gonna do it already, but guys, I haven't been sleeping. I'm gonna be 100% with you. I went to bed last night, quote unquote, went to bed at about 1, 2 in the morning. I fell asleep at 10:30 a.m. So I'm sitting here drinking Gamer Sub because I was then up by 2:30. Because I have to be. Heard the more art fight. Subway, yummy. A train ASMR video? Or should I just make you guys an ASMR video? One of these days we're going to do a proper, like, I know we did the one, meow, meow, meow. I know we did the one, ASMR video where I read you guys the Goosebumps book. I would love, you know what I think I would love to do? Just like, reading you, an actual novel. I think that would be kind of cool. The dining car ASMR video. I mean, we could do Neko's a train conductor ASMR. That'd be really funny. It'd be funny. I think we could make it work. I tend to, you guys are gonna laugh at me. You want to know what the best thing for Neko to fall asleep to is? There's 2 categories here. Number 1, and I've mentioned this before, I am a huge fan of Manly Badass Hero. Not as of recent, because it depends on the night. I'm not always the one picking the audio for the nighttime stuff. But I used to be in the top 0.01% of Manly Badass Heroes viewership. Because that's what I would sleep to. The other thing that I tend to sleep to is FNAF theories, specifically. I used to do Zelda ones too, but they aren't putting out as much as they used to. So a lot of like Rye Toast, or he's got another channel, Rye Doze, which I like to watch while I sleep, or listen to while I sleep. It's just somebody like droning on and on and on and on and on, and I sleep, but I've been having so much trouble falling asleep that it's ready to go find some ZQuil or something. I'm excited for some Beyond R, though. It's been a while. I know. We're finally back to schedule. Let's see. Click, clack, patty whack, give a dog a bone. This kitty cat is Going alone. No, I'm kidding. Meow meow. Okay, are we ready? I'm gonna load the game now. I'm gonna do. Meow. Yay. Alright. So this says player billiards. I'm wondering if there is a point in the game where we wind up playing as somebody else. I really think that's going to happen in this one. It would make a lot of sense to me, at least. Oh man, now I gotta try and remember everybody's voices. Goody. A silence that felt eternal, one that nobody dared to break. Each one was trying to process what had happened in their own ways. That silence had only come after several minutes, where only wails and sobs were heard. And when every tear had dropped, there was nothing left. They had all returned to the counter after that. Bill's head was buried in his arms, recalling those moments again and again. He couldn't forgive himself. What happened? Now I gotta go see the log. I can't. I forget what happened. Oh. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Jen, wait, we lost Jen? I don't remember this happening. No, I don't want that. I did not mean to click on that. The girl with the red hat? Yeah, no, I know that much. I didn't mean to click on this, so I'm not going to read it. We've already gone through these. The bathroom. Oh, that's right. Oh, you're right. Somebody did. You're right, guy. Thank you. So, how do I get back out of here, though? I think I soft locked the game. Hold on. That's a bug. That's a bug. Guy, could you give me a timestamp for that so that I can make sure the developer sees it? Thank you. Right. They'd all returned to the counter after that. Bill's head was buried in his arms, recalling those moments again and again. He couldn't forgive himself. After her body had touched the floor, Bill had thrown himself to her, no longer caring about further spilling. But even though he had given her all that remained in the cup, it hadn't worked. It was clearly too late, as he confirmed seconds later by taking her pulse. Thanks, Guy. When he saw her practically crawling, the poison had already started its job. Even if she had drank it sooner, it wouldn't have worked. He wasn't totally confident about it, but he couldn't know for certain. But for his own sake, he had to believe that. Otherwise, he could not keep going. The door had been impossible to open, so although he had objected, they decided to leave the body there. Sadly, there wasn't any proper place to bury her either. Cocktail, the only one with the mental fortitude to approach her, had closed her eyes. A noble act proper of a gentleman like him. Beside that, as much as it hurt to think, They had to keep the crime scene intact. It was undeniable that death hadn't been an accident. For starters, Jin had no reason to be in the men's bathroom. However, more importantly, there was the state of both doors. The culprit had somehow blocked the bathroom entrance and broken Jin's stall door. Making sure that she was unable to get to her antidote in time was, no doubt, an unexpected way to commit murder. It undoubtedly broke rule number 1. If by next antidote delivery everyone got theirs, the culprit would be confirmed to be that rule. His hands were trembling again. This time, however, the cause was rage. He didn't want revenge, but he did want something. Justice? Perhaps, but answers most of all. Who had been capable of such a thing? Whoever it was, they had to be stopped before there was another victim. And there would be one if nothing was done, as that death could only create a chain of tragedies. Leaving the bar was a thing of the past. Bill had firmly decided to remain there until everyone was safe. But as for how to accomplish that, it was now the biggest mystery of them all. Looking at the barman on the rules menu, Rule 9. Okay, let me grab my notes. My sticky notes. So, we know now that Jin is rule 9. I do have sticky notes for this. Should I write them on the screen? Would you guys prefer that? Didn't I know one other one for certain? Yes, cigar being rule 5. Whatever's easier for me. I mean, it doesn't really, it doesn't matter to me either way. Rule 9 was gone. Jin had been rule 9, the one that had almost taken his life. Now the danger the objectives posed was gone alongside her. And it wasn't something he could celebrate. One by one, the rules would fall. That's what the owner sought. 9 still left, among them his own, still unknown. Finally, the silence broke with a bang. They'll regret this. He had smacked the counter with his fist. He stood up and looked at everyone, all practically motionless. Who's the bastard that locked us here? You watching this? Say something. Can't take this lightly no more. Our time's limited, we gotta choose. Screaming at each other won't do us any good either. There's only one choice. The game's begun and we have to play it. But only 3 of us will survive, or even less than that. Seems so. Bill finally raised his head. No, I refuse. You still haven't given up. I wanted all of us to get out of here alive, but as long as we're still here, I can't give up. That battle is over, but the war isn't, correct? Exactly. For once, in that moment, everyone seemed willing to listen to him. Having to confront their deaths, having to accept them, they yearned for an escape. Bill could feel everyone's gazes pressing him for an answer. But... And what's the plan? This time, Cigar was the one who raised from her seat. One of us has killed that poor young woman. We have a killer here. I want to get out of this nightmare, but how am I supposed to trust anyone anymore? What have we done to deserve this? What punishment is this? You're still asking that? That won't get us anywhere. I know, but what do you expect me to say? Someone just died in front of us. I can't accept this so easily, and I shouldn't. This is all completely insane. I've gone along until now, but I can't do it anymore. If you want us dead so badly, please come here and get it over with already. Please calm down. Oh. I'll prepare something for you. Cocktail nervously tried to calm them down. Bill's head fell down again as his feelings of uselessness crushed him. More than ever, he wanted to do something, while being able to do nothing. Jin's image was still etched in his eyes, making him unable to even think. We have to catch the culprit and make them pay. We can't let a killer run around free if we don't stop them. Stop them how? With a vote. It's the only way. So young and already considering murder. How sad. What other choice do we have? If we let them free, we'll end up like Jin. No, we can't kill number one. Huh? Why not? Because killing is wrong? No, because we need to protect Rule 1. What? What? You want to protect them? Are you the killer or what? For fuck's sake, shut up! Poker's shout managed to silence everyone in an instant. Only knew her for a few hours, but I still spent some time with Jin. I understand your pain and hatred for the killer. I feel the same. This is what the murderer would want. So let her explain herself first. Coffee, what you proposing? Come on, explain. If we get rid of Rule 1, we will all become potential killers. It's very simple. An explanation shouldn't be needed. Bill raised his head. Yeah, I kind of have to agree with her. I'm afraid she's right. What do we do? Nothing? I don't like either option, to be frank. But still, we need to stop them somehow. How? It's not like there's a jail here to lock them up. For considering that, we need to uncover their identity. But if we do that, we risk their rule being taken out. In theory, as long as there's no majority vote, they won't die. We could expose them and keep them alive, but under watch. That doesn't sound too bad, I guess. It's not so simple. What's the problem with that? I didn't say there was a problem. Explain it then, don't leave us hanging. Hanging from where? You serious? Yes? What I meant was, according to the rules, only 3 of us can survive. Therefore, sooner or later, number 1 should be taken care of. So with that in mind, number 1 has some advantage over the rest. Even if we keep them alive and under watch, if they know that, as soon as 4 people are left, they'll be sacrificed. They'll use their license to kill to get rid of us, crowning themselves the winner the moment their identity gets found out. What are they waiting for then? Here we are. If it's one of us, they could go ahead and do it right now. Got me there, old man. Got no idea. Maybe they're at a disadvantage. Rule forbids us from killing them through violence, so I don't see how. Considering the method used, the culprit does not seem to be armed. So long as we don't leave them an opening to attack, we should be safe. I believe we should all calm down for now and avoid being alone. Everyone seemed to agree with Cocktail. There wasn't much more they could say, so the conversation ended there. With such a tense mood, some didn't take long to leave. Even Cocktail, for the first time, didn't stay at the counter. Nobody felt like drinking, so his services were not needed. Bill was left alone. No, there was someone else still there. Someone who hadn't said a word in that whole time. He didn't even notice her presence until that moment. The one who always stood out had turned invisible, her face devoid of emotion. Bill wanted to say something, try to cheer her up, but his mind went blank, only capable of looking at her. She was motionless, frozen in her seat, barely making any sound, and though her eyes were red, no tears remained. He remembered Jin and Lime talking often, though to be fair, Lime talked often to everyone. Obviously, any death was a tragedy, especially in case of murder. Yet, no one seemed as hurt by it as she was. Lime, do you need... Oh, Billy. And slowly raised her hand, waving. How's it going? Wanna play something? Or do you wanna chat? Are you tell me one of your fun stories. Her head lifted up, showing what was trying to be a smile. The tone of her voice tried to imitate her usual one, but something essential was missing. Bill gritted his teeth, trying to control himself. No, you don't need to force yourself to... Come on, cheer up that face. We're at a bar, not a... Lime. Thanks. Until now, I thought that you weren't taking this seriously. But I think I understand now. So, thank you. And sorry for not realizing it until now. What are you saying, Billy? We both tried hard to avoid this, but we still ended up here. But this isn't the end. It's hard to get over this loss, actually. I don't know if I will ever be capable of getting over this. But as long as we stay alive, this story won't end here. For now, rest up. He turned around, ready to leave, but after a couple of steps, a hand grabbed his arm. No, you don't get it. Huh? Say, silly Billy, you overestimate me. I didn't do anything for anyone, just myself. I only wanted to not think. Why else do you think I got drunk? As long as I had fun, all the fear and danger didn't exist. And neither did the game or the poison. Nothing. But while we were happily talking, while we were talking about her, someone was He tried to turn towards her, but Lime's hand pressing into his arm stopped him. Now I'll never be able to ask about the conversation I can't remember. Can't even remember the last talk we had. No, I remember one thing. I made you make an unfair promise that you couldn't keep. I guess you did, but this isn't what I wanted. Why did it end like this? Words he couldn't understand, whispers that weren't meant for him. We barely met a few hours ago, and yet I think there was something there. Still, no matter what I maybe felt about her or whatever could have been, the truth is I can't even cry. Cry for Ginny the way I should. Because more than sadness, what I feel the most is fear. I hate that. The hand was let go. He turned around and... I will have to try harder then, Bilbo. Oh? Ah! Ah! The kid lay on the floor, screaming in pain, holding his wound. The pain prevented him from getting up. It wasn't actually a severe wound, but he'd never been very strong. Luckily, someone came to help soon after, the one person he needed most. Are you okay? What happened? They hit me, and... Not cleared a wound! No! Those guys again? Yes. As he saw the wound, the boy sighed, relieved. Don't worry, it's nothing serious. Still, though, those kids don't learn. I just tried to talk to them to make peace, and you don't learn either, for better or for worse. Huh? Why? The boy extended his hand. Come on, up you go. Grabbing his hand, he managed to get up. The pain was still there, but seemed to have diminished. Or maybe him being there had been enough to help him relax. Thanks. No problem. You think I shouldn't talk to them? Someone has to talk to them, that's for sure, but it shouldn't be you. I don't get what's wrong with them. They attack me just because of how I am. No matter how much time passed, he could not understand. It had been happening for years since he was there, but in his innocence, he didn't understand why and kept stumbling over the same mistakes. Were they really mistakes? He was always wondering that. When he met that boy, things changed, though not completely. His self-confidence had grown a lot, and for the most part, he felt happier. It could be said that he was his best friend. His only friend, really. But he saw him as something else. For starters, there was the 6-year difference between them, so he was much more akin to a big brother, or a father, or even a hero. When he was with him, nobody attacked or insulted him. But as time passed, he had felt that he was relying too much on him. He knew that their lives would one day inevitably go down different paths. It would probably happen soon. It was for that reason that he wanted to learn from him as much as possible, make friends, and solve his problems as fast as possible. But no matter how hard he tried, it was one failure after another. Was everything he was trying pointless? Was it impossible for them to understand each other? Some would say humans are born with pure innocence that is lost as they grow up. And part of that innocence was that concept, the belief that everyone can get along, that with enough effort everyone can understand each other. If that was true, world peace could be attained. Unfortunately, life teaches us the opposite in little time. And yet, that kid still didn't seem to have learned that lesson. Or maybe he simply refused to learn it. Perhaps he could not bear being rejected by others. Perhaps he was too innocent. But even after seeing that, the brother could not bring himself to break that illusion. In fact, he wished for the opposite, that everyone believed in that fantasy. So it stopped being one. Even so, he worried about what could happen to the kid when he could not be there to protect him anymore. You think I'm doing it wrong? Should I stop? It was obvious that he had to stop trying for his own good. He had started having problems with other kids practically as soon as he had arrived there. While the adults had tried to solve it on many occasions, no solution had lasted for very long. Behind his back, he was considered a problem magnet, a kid with bad luck, an easy target. At some point, he had given up, had accepted his position, until his hero appeared. He didn't want that kid to lose hope again, but he also had to accept reality. So his answer at that time was, "We'll have to try harder." Was that a mistake? That kid, who would one day be called Billiards, inspired by that person, was again on that junction. He could persist on his goal, even with a person's death. Everyone else could still come out alive. Or he could accept reality and fight for his life against the others. 3:00. Break shot. What was that? Thrown to the ground, covered in sweat and tears, and pushed to his limits, a switch finally flipped in the kid's mind. He could endure the pain, as he was already more than used to it. Insults didn't faze him. They no longer mattered. There was, however, one line that nobody could cross, and they had just done that. He didn't know where they had found that information about his past. Probably from one of the adults, though that didn't matter at the moment. That was his weak point. He wished to leave his past behind and start a new life there, and now that dream felt impossible. He couldn't bear it. The wounds on his body stopped hurting, and something else took their place. A new sensation. A rage inside consuming his mind. Hatred that he never thought he was capable of feeling for anyone, not even them. His right hand moved across the ground in search of something. Nothing specific anything would do. His fingers reached something, his eyes still fixed on his attackers, but he could still tell what the object in his hand was. At that moment, he thought of him. What would he think about what he was about to do? The answer was obvious. He knew doing it could destroy everything. Was he willing to lose everything all over again, for a mere fleeting moment of satisfaction? Yes. Intoxicated by that hatred, letting the adrenaline take over him, that was his answer. He gathered his remaining strength, raised his arm, extending it towards the one in front of him. It was just a small branch, nothing more. Small enough to go through his target's eye. Oh no. Bill, what did you do? Lyman left after those words, which had inevitably resurfaced some memories inside him. He'd been there for a few minutes, alone on that seat, thinking, remembering. But the only conclusion he could reach was that he had to keep going. and for that he had to move. While objectives were no longer a concern in between councils, the pressure to act was bigger than ever. On the one hand was the assassin, rule number 1. Further deaths had to be avoided, and to do that, he had to find out who they were. He wasn't sure what to do with them, but somehow they had to be stopped. There was also his own number. He needed to figure it out as soon as possible. And number 2, the potential key to escape. Wait. A recollection floated up to the surface of his mind. Quickly, he went into the data menu of his barman, and indeed, Jin was rule 9. Could perhaps the knowledge that the victim had desired death sometime in her life diminish the pain he felt about that wish having been granted now? No, of course not. He didn't know when that attempted suicide had taken place, but even if it had been recent, it didn't change anything. Jin hadn't seemed like the type of person to try to take her own life. But whatever the reason, the attempt had failed and she had continued her life until that other person had taken the chance away. And not just any other person, Rule 1, the other person that data included. Again, a macabre irony, where that cruel twist of fate could become the key to stopping the killer. With 9's death, only one more person amongst them fit that data. That was the person he needed to find. For an instant, he felt the allure of a fleeting idea, a wicked thought that tried to make him lose his way. Maybe, perhaps, that was just another suicide attempt, a successful one. Perhaps, maybe, it wasn't a murder and everyone was innocent. Nah. He didn't have to suspect anyone. He didn't have to feel any guilt. He immediately rejected those whispers coming from his subconscious. He didn't know past Jin, and probably didn't know the Jin of the last few hours too well either, but he had seen her face in last moments. Even leaving aside every sign pointing towards murder, that face of horror and suffering said more than enough. He wouldn't fall for that trap. He wouldn't use that fantasy to take the easy and painless way out. I will say, you want me to tell you my safest, like how I think the safest way to get to like deal with Rule 1, quote unquote, deal with? Let Rule 5 take over Rule 1. I mean, salutations once again. There's no need for an introduction, correct? How are you enjoying this afterworld? I'm referring to the fact that these circumstances came after what should have been a dead end. I allowed you to see beyond that tragedy, though I did it without taking your opinion into consideration. And now there's no going back. You must carry on, diving into the unknown. Well, not so unknown thanks to the little help I'm here to provide. Beyond this point, your freedom will be restricted to the available time you have left, as it should be. After all, we've now gone past introductions, and it's time to make things more interesting. You have 25 minutes at your disposal, the time until the next council. You must use them wisely. Of the assortment of options at your grasp, only a portion can be done in that time. But it's not a simple numerical limit. Each action takes a specific amount of time, as nothing is equal. And it's an amount you have to estimate on your own. Ooh, now this is a cool mechanic. If there's only 5 minutes or less for the council after an action is done, the investigation will conclude. The time left is displayed in the council section of your barman. One piece of advice: actions that involve investigating will normally take up more time, especially if you run into someone to talk to. Best to leave long tasks for the end, even if you don't have enough time left to find something in them. And of course, your authority over time isn't affected by this. You can use it to go back as many times as you see fit to do everything, but not all in the same run. You are free, even welcome, to observe all paths first, and then decide to keep only those you feel will be more important to you in the future. With all that now explained, let the game continue and the investigation start. Okay. Oh. Okay. I'm just seeing if there's anything I think is important here. You know what? I bet something I need to do. Can I not get my next data? We must have gotten it before then. Okay. Nobody's taken Rule 9. Okay. Okay. I think we should look for clues. I'm going to drop a save point here first, though. Okay. Let's go search for clues. With the objectives out of the picture, the explorer role no longer existed. Even if all clues were found, it wouldn't cause the inevitable death of anyone. That said, they were still dangerous weapons in the wrong hands. Their numbers had to be protected to avoid accusations, but no rule prevented the hiding of discovered clues like the photo he had found. Photo? Was that in here? Did we put that? If he found clues related to his data, he could potentially find the identity of number 1, especially if he found proof of a suicide attempt. As much as he didn't like the idea of finding a suicide note or anything along those lines, he'd already done it previously, so there were a few places he could cross out. Once he thought of a few possible places, the investigation began with... Okay, so 3 locations. The bar, I want to go to the entrance. A good place to hide a hint was at the entrance, where the door was the focus of attention. Surrounding it were pots that could contain something. He wasn't expecting to find anybody there, but...
What's your deal here? Going out or what?
Piano also looked surprised to meet someone there. He didn't seem to be doing anything, yet his nervousness was plain to see. No, when I could ask you the same.
I said it first, though, so give me an answer.
I already told you, no. And you?
Same. I'm not too.
Then why are you here?
What are you doing here?
I asked you first. I knew that's what he was gonna say.
No, I asked you what you're doing here first, was the first thing I said.
Actually, I think the first thing was, what? But whatever, I'd better stop this before it keeps going round and round. And anyway, he can't be the culprit. I came here to look for hints, to find out who's number 1.
Oh, same.
Any luck?
I'm not gonna tell you what I found.
So did you find anything?
No, maybe. It's a secret, okay?
He found something. We really need to work together to find the killer. Or is it a hint unrelated to 1? If that's the case, sure, better to keep it secret for now. After all, he was doing the same thing with the hint he'd found.
That's a secret too.
So you won't tell me anything then?
Exactly.
I'm getting the feeling he just wants to go against whatever I say. Ha, would-be guy. Not that I can blame him for putting up his guard, especially after what happened. For all he knows, I could be guilty. Fine, you win, but I'd like to investigate.
Want me to leave? That's sus.
I didn't ask you to leave. Stay if you want. We can even search together.
Nah, leaving.
Okay.
Or maybe I should keep an eye on you. If you're one and find one of your hints, you'll destroy it.
Now that you mention it, that's true. Rule 1 could do it if they haven't already. Would be nice if there was a rule to stop us from destroying hints or evidence generally.
But there isn't, so we gotta watch out.
Generally speaking, it was basically a fact that if someone found one of their own hints, they'd destroy it if possible. It was a good way of protecting themselves, and Bill supported it. Number 1's case aside, of course. But if one had already decided to kill from the start, they could have already searched the whole bar to remove all their hints. The whole search could be pointless, but even so, he couldn't give up. There are probably a lot of hints there, so even if that was the case, it was unlikely that anyone could have found all their hints in a few hours without anyone noticing. I'll keep that in mind, yeah.
Not you. I'm the one who's supposed to keep a watch on you, so you don't destroy anything incriminating.
I'm not one, but sure, since I'm innocent, being watched isn't a problem.
Good, that's what I'll do.
I'd prefer if you watched someone more suspicious than me. I'm not the most suspicious one, right? Piano's hard-to-ignore glare was making him uncomfortable, but he began his investigation nonetheless. Pots were the elephant in the room, but removing all the plants and inspecting the soil wasn't a very appealing idea, so he decided to look underneath first, where a note could be hidden. Results were non-existent so far, and he was starting to feel like he was losing his time there.
No luck?
No.
'Cause you're too slow.
You're welcome to join the search if you want. I know you can't be one, so it's no problem. With both of us working together, it'll be much faster.
But if I start looking, I can't watch you.
Don't complain then. He didn't intend to pressure him. He was simply being honest. But Piano was obviously considering if he should keep watching without doing anything.
Okay, fine. Honestly, I don't think it's you, but I don't want to chance it. If we're going nowhere, I guess I have no choice but to give you a hand.
Nice. Then start over there.
Don't give me orders. I'll start here.
I already tried there. Weren't you watching me?
Maybe you didn't try hard enough.
Okay. Though it wasn't easy, they finally reached an agreement and began the search.
There's a thing shoved in the pot here.
Minutes later, their teamwork worked out. What? He ran to Piano's side and crouched down. Exactly as he suspected in the beginning, there it was, hidden in the pot's soil. An envelope.
I thought you looked here already.
Yeah, but I was focused more on the exterior than what was inside.
I still had no problem just taking a look. You need glasses or what?
No, to tell you the truth, searching was never my thing. Piano sighed and pulled the envelope out.
They tried concealing it, but with the envelope's color, but it didn't really work. Guess they don't sell them in dirt color.
Not that I've heard.
And because I'm the one who found it, it's mine.
The idea to search was mine, though. Can't I at least see it?
Let me take a look first, and then we'll see.
It seemed fair, so he didn't complain. Piano opened the envelope and took out a folded piece of paper. He opened it and spent a few moments reading it.
Honestly, I have no clue if this is useful or not.
Only if it's about one.
I know, but it doesn't say.
Well, yeah, it's a hint, not the solution. First, we check if it matches with any data we have with number 1, and if it does, we figure out who.
Yeah, got it. I'm not a baby, dude. But, this isn't what I was expecting.
Can I see?
Whatevs, don't even think about ripping it or running away, though.
No need to give it to me if you don't want to, but at least turn it around so I can see. Giving up, he showed him the other side. And just like he said, it was quite unexpected. This is a police document for an arrest. In other words, a criminal record. Did that mean that one of them was a criminal? Was that person the killer?
I can read.
The name is censored, but there's some personal info, and the crime committed is a street fight. I was expecting something worse, but it didn't seem to be too serious. No deaths. They were released the day later after it was proven they weren't the instigator, but more like a victim. If they'd been the attacker, or if it was a murder, the chance of this being Rule 1 would be higher. Though that's assuming the rules weren't given to us at random. In any case, we need data about crimes or something like that to know if this is useful.
I don't have that, though. You?
Same here, so hold on to it for now. However, before he did, Bill memorized the possibly relevant parts in case Rule 1 turned out to have related data. Police record. Okay, let's see. Male. No casualties. Some parties received knife injuries, including the detainee. All of the arrested were members of a small criminal group who declared that it had been an internal dispute, and they were also a member. Interesting. Piano put it back in the envelope and then in his pocket.
I hope this wasn't a waste of time.
Grumbling in a low voice, Piano left. Bill had expected at least a bye, but he didn't let it bother him and resumed his search. How much time do we have left? How much time did that take? Okay, that took 6 minutes. That's not too bad. How about we investigate the bathroom? I have a feeling we're going to go back over this a couple of times, so... The idea of visiting the crime scene was quite unappealing, but he had to do it in order to stop the culprit. Jin's body remained there, same position as when she had died. One police principle that most people know is that a crime scene cannot be altered. But on the way there, he noticed a big issue. Everyone had access to the bathrooms, with no checks or monitoring to speak of, including the killer. If there had been any clues to their identity, they'd had more than enough time since all of them split up to hide them. The one way to avoid that, assuming it wasn't already too late, was keeping the scene under watch. To do that, at least 2 players would be needed so they could keep an eye on each other, which would hamper their freedom of movement. Nobody would want to take the job. Maybe it was already too late. Perhaps investigating it at that point was pointless. Still, he had to try, even if that meant... holding back his vomit. What was he doing there? Was that suffering worth it? Could he really find out anything by looking at the corpse? With those thoughts in his mind, resisting the urge to run away or look the other way, Bill inched towards it. For a crime scene, there was a complete lack of blood. In fact, at first glance, and corpse aside, it appeared to be immaculate. Same as when they entered, which meant the culprit hadn't left anything behind when they locked Jin inside. It was an unusual murder, one that only such a game allowed. The murderer only needed to prevent Jin from taking her antidote, nothing more. But to carry it out, they had to block 2 doors. How? That was one of the mysteries to solve. Jin was another mystery. The murderer probably had to carry her there without being found out, and also prevent her from escaping while they blocked the doors. Wanting to delay checking the body as much as possible, he started with the bathroom's door, the first obstacle they had encountered. Though he had to force it a bit to open it, the lock was completely busted, as expected from having to break it open the door. How did they close it? No matter what, it had to have been done from the outside, otherwise they would have been trapped inside as well. Bill wasn't much of a murder mystery fan, so he didn't know the term closed room. When a crime appears impossible because the crime scene doesn't allow the culprit from leaving it, and yet they managed to do it somehow. However, knowing its name was unnecessary. He understood that the closed door meant the culprit had to close it from the outside, otherwise they'd have been found inside. In any case, all 9 of us were there. The first method to block the door he came up with was to put something heavy behind it. However, that was clearly not possible in that case, mainly because they found nothing like it inside. Though there was a simpler way of doing it, one leading to a new mystery. Maybe they simply locked the door? The door had a lock, which was the easiest way of blocking it. Was there a key somewhere? None that he knew of. He hadn't seen any keys in the bar, though that didn't mean there wasn't one. There was a chance that the culprit had found one hidden somewhere in a similar fashion to finding a hint. Did that mean the culprit still had the key? No, they had most likely gotten rid of it. Finding it would only confirm the method of closing the door and nothing else, as they had no way to check for fingerprints. Reaching a dead end, he left the first door and went for the next one, as much as he didn't want to get near it. Guys, we're gonna take a quick BRB. I just have to go potty. We'll be right back. Sorry. You don't know why you picked the name Cherry. You hate cherry flavored. Cherry, that's funny. I'm sorry. I don't know, because it's the one that resonated with you. Maybe we'll chat about it later. Reaching a dead end, he left the first door and went for the next one as much as he didn't want to get near it. It hadn't been long, yet the stench of death was starting to fill the air. He could feel it. His guts, empty besides the alcohol, were beginning to stir. Actually, if I'm not mistaken, let me just double check this flavor. I believe what I'm drinking right now has cherry as part of it. Yes, a cherry lemon tea. It's really good. Somehow he felt worse than any hangover he could ever have. The reason was plain to see. The corpse he desperately didn't want to see lay there. As he got near the second door, his eyes instinctively tried looking in the direction of the body. Mentally, he apologized to Jin, while reluctantly grabbing the second door's handle. Just like the first one, the door had suffered big damages. It had been impossible to open when they first tried, as the lock was stuck. That type of door could get stuck accidentally, it wasn't too uncommon, but the culprit had done it on purpose, by force. Likewise, more force than normal, and several minutes of struggle had been required to open it. And on the other side, he gulped, took a step forward, and there she was, just as they'd left her. Jin, the game's first victim. It hadn't even been an hour, and yet seeing it recently wasn't enough to prepare him for that reunion. Not even the serene bartender had managed to keep his composure fully intact when he approached her to close her eyes. His body had trembled with each step taken, and he had to close his own eyes before touching her. Now Bill was in a similar situation. He couldn't see Jin's eyes, yet he could feel a gaze piercing into his core, judging him, pronouncing him guilty because of his lack of action, and because of his return. Why are you here? You aren't a detective. You aren't a cop. This isn't your place. Are you going to defile the crime scene and the victim's body with your incompetence? His goal had been to escape. In that abyss of misery and decadence, he had tried to get to the surface, reaching towards the light. Yet he ended up plummeting the opposite direction, toward the depths of the game, where the worst darkness awaited. I'm sorry. Slowly, he opened his eyes. Welcome back. I'm sorry. He couldn't close his eyes again. He couldn't run away. There was only one path to make sure such a tragedy didn't happen again. He clenched his fist, grit his teeth, holding back his fears, and kept his eyes focused on Jin. Luckily, being a recent death, the body was intact. That made it easier. Even if it was a cheap trick, he had to dilute his senses by imagining that Jin was sleeping. He would. That said, her expression of severe pain wasn't that of someone having a dream. It was the look of someone being drowned in the cruelest of nightmares. That face was what had pulled all of his attention during her final moments. Hello, Travis. Welcome in. Anguished at wanting to save her, he hadn't noticed something that was now clearly noticeable. Marks on her body and her clothes. Signs of violence. She'd been attacked before her death. Even more evidence that it was indeed a murder. Beyond that, he wasn't sure if there were any other proper conclusions he could infer from it. Still, he felt that there might be something, so he jotted it down in his notes. He wasn't expecting to solve anything alone. He looked for everyone's help at the council, where he'd share his suspicions. Alola Lily! Now what? His concentration was beginning to drop. Jin's dying wail started echoing in his head. He wasn't made for this. He couldn't forget those moments. Desperate to find some clue and leave, he focused on her pockets. Perhaps they contained some clue, although getting even closer and touching the body was a red line he didn't see himself capable of crossing. No, I have to. I can't make the same mistake again. My fear of taking action and my empty words led us here. His arm extended slowly while his body moved forward. His eyes finally succumbed, veering to the left, but he didn't stop. His eyes were no longer necessary. His hand would do the rest of the work. Left pocket, nothing. Right pocket, nothing. Huh? Something was wrong. He wasn't sure what, but something wasn't right. Jin didn't have anything. Her barman. His eyes went back to the body, but the confusion has completely overshadowed the horror. He looked at her hands, nothing. The floor, nothing. He went as far as checking inside the toilet with the same empty result. Something was off. Something was missing. Something that had to be there. Where? Finally, he realized what it was. Where's her barman? Every player had to carry their barman at all times. It was an essential part of the game. Losing it equaled losing the game, and thus their lives. In Jin's case, however, the cause of death had clearly been the poison, given that she couldn't drink the antidote in time. Only one explanation came to mind. The culprit took it. Why? The rules banned the act of looking at the other player's screens, and the death of its player was inconsequential. The rules didn't make that exception, at least. Regardless of the reason, if that was the case, it meant that someone now had 2 barmen in their possession. Unless they had gotten rid of it, that is, as being seen with the 2 would give away their identity immediately. He couldn't think of any reason. Doing anything to another player's barman was completely illogical. The rules didn't allow it. Unless the person that took it could ignore the rules. Not, wrong button. Wrong button, hold on. That's one of the core rules. No, it can't be. The owner was there. That could be. But why would they need Jin's barman? Does that mean they're the killer? He was starting to get dizzy, and it couldn't be the poison yet. It was still too soon. That mystery, those suspicions, they were starting to seriously affect him, and being near the body only made it worse. Nervous, practically in a panic, he stood up and ran outside the bathroom. He needed to breathe. He had to calm down. Maybe he had imagined it. The barman had to be there somewhere, but he simply hadn't seen it. Or she might have lost it after the council? That could explain why she didn't go to the counter. Or maybe he was running away from reality as usual, looking for easy explanations. There's no time for this. I need to continue the investigation. How much time did that take? One thing was certain. He couldn't solve that mystery right then and there. Obsessing over it wouldn't help. Oh, okay, it hasn't. That's fine. He concluded his investigation of the crime scene and moved on to his next goal. Alright, now how much time do I have left? Not a ton. Let's look for some more clues, shall we? I'm gonna go to the bar. Because we already searched the piano area. The counter felt like the most important area of the bar. It had to hide at least one clue. but it would be difficult to search with anyone around. Luckily, however, the one usually standing in it wasn't. Cocktail had taken a break after the incident. Though if there was a hint here, he would have likely found it already. Even so, it was worth a shot. Cocktail had been very busy serving and talking with them. Not a ton of time to investigate. Or a good reason to do it, actually. As long as he didn't plan to win the game, it was only after that loss that they had a motive. A good one, to search for hints. That's not totally true either. There's also the hint-searching objective, or there was. In any case, he reached the counter, emptier than ever before. Oh.
My boy, are you here to replace the barista?
Albeit not completely empty. No, I came here with something else in mind.
What a shame. I was hoping someone would serve me. I'd have it tough doing it myself.
Sorry, I can grab you a bottle if you want, but I have something important to do.
Oh, you sound serious. Now I'm intrigued.
I'm looking for hints about number 1, the culprit. No need to hide it, as it was physically impossible for Vodka to be the culprit.
Ah, I see. An eye for an eye.
Not to kill him.
Course. Go on then. There's plenty of room to look around.
For the first time, he was the one behind the counter. A very different perspective from such a simple change. That was Cocktail's view.
In that case, if you can pass me that bottle, you'll make me a marginally happier mummy, son.
Slightly stretching his arm, he pointed at the shelf that was now behind Bill. He turned around, but... there's a lot of bottles here. You'll need to be more specific. I don't know where you're pointing.
That one there, that one.
Which one? What's the name?
Do you really think I know the name?
Jesus Christ, Vodka.
It's on the labels. Do you really think my eyes can see those tiny little ant-sized letters?
Okay, fine, but describe it to me at least. Some detail.
The green one.
Most of them are green.
With the red label there.
He tried focusing on the old man's wrinkled finger, imagining a line that would guide him to the desired bottle. This one?
No, son, to the right.
This one?
More to the right.
This one.
Not so far to the right. I'll have to get up, won't I?
With every second going by, his respect for Cocktail was going up. This one, then.
Sure, let's go with that. Come on.
Okay. He picked up the bottle from the shelf, noticing that behind it was more space than he imagined. That could be the perfect place to hide something. If I take all the bottles out, that'd be chaos, and Cocktail wouldn't be very happy with that. Wait, it's not like he works here or anything. Still, he would have to leave them on the counter or the floor, and there were a lot of them. Too many, even.
Hey!
Oh, excuse me. I wonder if coming here at a different time would make us not have to do this. He turned around and put the bottle on the counter in front of Vodka.
Finally, it almost would have been faster if I'd done it myself. Let's see what you brought me. Well, as they say, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Bull crap, time has only made me weaker.
That's just how the human body works. Biology.
Biology can eat my...
Drink and relax. I'll search around.
Good luck with that, I guess. If I happen to fall dead while drinking, don't you worry. I don't think it would count as murder.
Age aside, the drinking might have something to do with it too. While he was somewhat worried for vodka, he left him be and went for the shelves. First, he began searching the counter's backside. There were gaps under it that were used to hold cups, small dishes, and various utensils that were to be expected in a bar. Among them, knives. They weren't particularly big, but looked sharpened enough to be used as weapons. There was no way to know if there were any missing, and their relatively small size only made them easier to hide without being too noticeable. To the right of them, he also noticed 2 wooden pegs. They appeared to be designed to hang something, yet both were empty. There was only one thing that didn't fit with the rest, a portable chessboard with its pieces inside it. No hint in sight as far as I can tell. To be fair, if there was one, Cocktail would have found it already. Maybe looking for one here wasn't a good idea. How about the shelves? Might as well check them while I'm here. He would go one by one, leaving the bottles on the floor so he could return them later. Not a fun exercise, but it seemed like the best option. To begin with, the shelf where the bottle vodka was currently drinking had been.
You're planning on drinking all of that, boy. I did hear that youngsters like crooking the elbow a lot, but...
I said I was
Yes, just a little prank. My memory is still good, haven't gotten to that point, for now.
That's good. It was at that moment, after grabbing one of the bottles, that he finally noticed something. An envelope glued to the wall behind the shelves, concealed by its dark purple color. Another envelope, its contents already predictable. Another folded piece of paper, which revealed its true form once unfolded. His first reaction was folding it back. He didn't want to invade someone else's privacy in such a way. It was undoubtedly a screenshot of a private conversation. Not that it was a big surprise that hints would include something like it, yet having it in his hand repulsed him deeply, a feeling of complicity. But I've got to read it in case it's from the killer. Sorry. First thing he could tell was that it wasn't his. The most noticeable part were the censored names. The real names of everyone there were unknown, but having them could have told him their gender. It was safe to assume it came from a player's phone. Considering he didn't have his own, it was clear that it was taken when he was kidnapped, and it was probably the same with everyone else. So to figure out whose hint it was, he had to look closely at the way they talked and use the information he already had.
I see you got lucky. Maybe you have some luck left after all.
Excuse me, but I'll keep it a secret for now.
I don't care anyway, so don't worry, never was one for gossip. And speaking of luck, the whiskey you brought me is not bad at all.
Again, it was best for him to read it calmly later. He returned the now empty envelope to its hiding place and added the new hint to his own envelope. Oh, I want to read that. Let's see. Out again. Won't take too long. As long as you're back before dinner, I don't mind. I'm just happy to see you going out of the house more, but you should use it better, not just walk around. Try to find a job. Give it another chance. Either that or getting back to studying. We've been in this situation for too long. I know it's tough, but you can't let all your potential go to waste. I found a scholarship abroad for people like you. Maybe a big change in your life is just what you need. Not sure if the application would go through, though, but might as well try. Don't care. My dear, you can't stay like this forever. Wouldn't it be exciting to travel the world for the first time? I'm not telling you to leave if you don't want to, just throwing some ideas. You know things aren't going too well lately. I'm not sure we'll be able to sustain you for much more. I don't know what we did wrong, but closing up like that will only make things worse for you. Dinner's ready. Where are you? Right away, this sounds like coffee. It does give me some hint, though. So somebody that's never traveled abroad but does take strolls regularly. So that knocks off 4 and 10. So this is either pertaining to 2 or 6. And since I'm assuming that it's coffee, by the way they talk, and since we already know who's 6, I'm going to say that coffee is probably rule number 2. Where's my sticky note? Here we go. I'm fairly certain. Because cigar is number 6, right? That is what number 6 is? Hold on. Or no, are we 6? Oh, 5. We're 6. Okay, I really should write my notes down here. Let me have a second here. Sources. Here we go. Let me put up my notes here. Okay. So where'd it go? What? So far, I don't have a hint for 1, really. Why does that keep happening? Oh, it's because it's part of it. Okay, that makes sense. Let me move this to here, I guess, so it doesn't go away. I don't really have a hint for 1. I should really make this smaller. Actually, just clear it. I don't really have a hint for 1. Number 2. I can't write with this. This sucks. I really need to find all the stuff that I need for my my drawing tab. 2 is most likely coffee. With a question mark, because we're not 100%, but number 3, no real hint. Number 4, no real hint. Number 5 should be cigar. This isn't really legible, is it? My handwriting's terrible on top of everything else. Number 6 is us. Fairly certain. I should probably do like this so that I'm not running into myself. Number 7. We don't really know. Number 8. We don't really know. Number 9 is gin. And then number 10. That's our current, like,
see.
I feel like this is an important piece of information. I have to put all these bottles back where they were, don't I? So when we go back through, I think I'll start with this. And then everything appeared to be... Oh, can we do more? Yeah, I guess we can do one more thing, huh? Well, we already searched for things near the piano. Maybe I can talk to somebody? Murder mystery stories were never his hobby, nor had he ever been interested in detective or police work. But he still knew one of the basics was interrogating the suspects. He didn't know how to do it or if he'd be capable, but it didn't need to be too formal. He'd just have a chat with each one. But that was the hardest part for him, having to suspect others. Did he have to talk to all of them? Who were the most suspicious? He began by making a mental list of all 8. Lime, vodka, cigar, piano, cocktail, poker, coffee, and darts. So right off the top, I take piano and vodka off probably. I don't think that they're physically capable of being number 1. Sadly, I kind of think the most likely is Lime. Even though she was so affected by Jin's death, something tells me that she's more than she seems to be, whether it be split personality or something of the sort. I feel like Lime is very, very sus. Cocktail would be an interesting one. Poker and darts both seem to be either police or detective types. And while they, I think that poker's probably like a cop and darts is probably like a PI. Cigar seems like a salary woman. I honestly don't think she's capable. Limes are kind of sour, you're right. Coffee's sus. Could have been an accident. There's no way this was an accident. I don't think Cigar is necessarily capable. Cocktail was the first one to the bar, if I remember correctly. He was at the bar like the whole time. Kitten? You want to come over? I'll make you lime pie. Lime was out. He was certain of that. He couldn't see her as a killer, even less so after what had happened. He didn't even want to consider it. And while not a great reason, he didn't have the resolve to talk to her again after what happened, especially about that subject. He needed some time. Next was vodka, also quite unlikely, though even less so. His age would make any physical action harder, and his indifferent attitude towards the game made him more willing to die than kill. Then there was the chance of that being an act, but he wasn't the biggest suspect. Cigar also didn't give off the impression of being capable of it. At least she appeared to lack the mental fortitude. She'd been visibly affected by the events, having shown panic, ire, and fear. Again, it could be an act. Not likely, though. Piano was a kid, even if he tried to act as if he wasn't. Physically less capable against gin than vodka. Very unlikely. Cocktail was the first plausible candidate. He seemed to be a good person, albeit distant. An easy person to suspect, with his strong image as a bartender and the game taking place in a bar. Even though he was searching for the murderer, he couldn't help but recall Dart's words about the possibility of Cocktail having some relation to the owner. But he had to focus. Physically, he could have done it, but Bill didn't have enough information on him or the murderer to reach any conclusions. He had to consider him a suspect, even if he didn't like it. Poker was another possible suspect, but the friendship he seemed to have made with Jin made it less likely. On the other hand, he definitely had enough strength to commit the crime. Though he seemed less hurt by it than Cigar and Lime, he'd been clearly furious and more serious than usual. No doubt it had affected him, despite showing it less. Even if he was innocent, he could still be worth talking to, as he seemed to have known Jin better than the rest, Lime aside. Coffee was the biggest mystery of all. He found it impossible to judge her in any way. Obviously, that made her suspicious, but simply due to a mere lack of info. On the one hand, she seemed to have less strength than Jin, making her a less likely candidate, though not an impossible one. But that was as far as he could go without speculation. He needed to talk to her more, as hard as that was. And last but not least, Darts. Perhaps, from the whole group, the person he'd had the most clashes with. There was no denying that he hadn't had great opinion of him since the start. However, after their strange conversations, he had no idea anymore. He was always wondering whose side he was on, what he was aiming for. He was certainly a possible culprit, but how likely was it? He could picture him both as main suspect and innocent. In summary, his main suspects were cocktail, poker, and darts, with a big question mark over coffee, as well as darts again. But really, those question marks could be extended to the whole group. Even after a few hours with them, they were still strangers. Even Lime, the one who seemed to have suffered the most from Jin's death, as much as he wanted to completely discard her, her innocence wasn't 100% certain. Step by step, he needed to talk to each of them in private, otherwise nothing would be done. At first glance, the easiest way to find the culprit was to figure out who fit his third data. But it wouldn't work to simply ask each player if they'd ever tried to kill themselves. Aside from being incredibly insensitive, the culprit would lie with no way for him to know, and it wasn't the type of answer he could get while being subtle. The best way, and maybe the only one, was finding out who had both the reason and mindset required to reach such an extreme. And from the little he knew of them and going by first impressions, none of the 8 gave off that image, same as Jin. And there was another factor to consider. Was talking alone with someone safe? As long as the killer was free, it was a risk. As much as he refused to play the game, someone else had already started, and they wouldn't turn back after such a serious crime. If his investigation was found out, he could become the next victim. The rest would also want to find the culprit's identity, but compared to being willing to openly investigate was a different matter. Ugh, my head. Too many things to consider. Who did he have to talk to first? I want to talk to Coffee. Especially because the data that I found at the bar seems to be hers. Though he saw her as an unlikely suspect, she was a suspect nonetheless. He needed to make sure she was innocent before ruling her out. As usually, he found her alone on one of the sofas on the east side. What was less expected was finding her upside down, like she was sleeping. It reminded him of Lime, albeit in Coffee's case he was less certain of whether she was awake or not. While he didn't want to wake her, it really was not a good time to nap. Even after the disappearance of the objectives, they couldn't relax. But as he got near, maybe because she heard his footsteps, Coffee turned around and looked at him with her poker face. I'm starting to think the nicknames got switched by mistake. Good morning. Wasn't sleeping. Okay, good to know, I guess. And with that, she turned around again, giving him the cold shoulder once more. Thankfully, he saw it coming, thus keeping his cool. Had to get to the bottom of it, so it was time to get serious. I'd like to know what you know about what happened. Anything at all. Without turning around, she answered. Since when are you a detective? I'm not. I just wanted us to be safe. Naturally, getting to the truth was important, but above that were their lives. The hows and whys weren't as crucial to him. Only the who. Getting as much info as possible was no more than a means to the end. Can you prove you aren't guilty? Huh? How can I trust your innocence? I'd love to prove it, but I don't have any alibi. But do you really think it could have been me? No, but it's not impossible. Right. I can't be sure you're innocent either, but I still want to hear you. And also, shouldn't there be some presumption of innocence or something? This isn't a trial or the outside world. What do you mean by that? The laws and logic from outside don't necessarily apply here. I get the law part, but logic? Don't leave me hanging now. Do I need to explain? I'm more interested on whatever you might know about the crime, but honestly, now that you said that, it'd be nice to hear it. Can I talk about only one? I'd prefer both. Please? This whole game is illogical, so relying on logic alone can mislead you. Illogical? I despise it, but the game doesn't seem so badly designed. I'm not talking about the design. It's illogical because it lacks sense and purpose. Oh, good point. Totally, the one sense this can have is sadistic entertainment for a kidnapper. It makes me sick. But unless the culprit turns out to be that owner, I think the murder can be solved. The owner is one of us. I hope not, but yeah, it's possible. Both stood silent, having to think for a moment about what just happened. Coffee appeared to have expected some sort of reaction from him after confidently spewing such a heavy statement. Yet it was her that had been caught off guard. No, Bill was just as stunned, but his surprise was a result of his own reply, not her words. He himself would have expected to deny that assertion, yet the first thing that came to his mind was the exact opposite. Deep down, since who knows when, he had already accepted that possibility. He couldn't figure out when the seed of doubt that had now blossomed had been planted in him. Perhaps it was there from the very start. The owner, the one responsible for the whole game, was one of the 10 players. No, 9. No, there was good reason why it couldn't be Jin. There was no reason why it couldn't be Jin. As long as number 1 had the freedom to kill, they could kill anybody. So, technically, there were 10 suspects. And once again, 9, not counting himself. It horrified him and disgusted him to think that the culprit was there. But it was also already a fact that the killer was among them. Therefore, to assume that the architect of that nightmare was too wasn't unthinkable. After Jin's death, many possibilities had opened. Ones he would have rejected before with all his strength. But dealing with that person wouldn't free them from the poison chaining them to the game. For that reason, he shook his head, trying to get rid of those thoughts. He needed to focus on what was most important, the murderer. Getting back on topic, do you know anything that could help us find the culprit? Do I need to respond to that? I know I'm bothering you, but... It's not that. To be honest, I don't like thinking about it, as in the murder. Oh, I didn't think of that. Normally, something like that would have traumatized anyone. Sorry. No, I'm fine. It's just so... gruesome. On the other hand, Lime probably couldn't say the same. It disturbed him too, but he'd managed to push his feelings aside to try and solve it. Realizing that made him feel a bit guilty. Am I being disrespectful with Jin and everyone? I think she would have wanted us to find the truth, but... It's true that I got over it pretty easily. Much easier than expected. As tragic as it all was, Jin was still somebody he had barely known. Even Lime had confessed to feeling more fear than sorrow, as tough as it was to admit. Even so, having been present in the moment of death, even though he felt such a shock that made him shiver just thinking about it, in that moment he didn't feel as tormented as he had expected. Understanding that was by itself quite disturbing. Was his way of thinking being affected by the game? Wanting to get those thoughts out of his head, he attempted to get back into the conversation. So as I was saying, what can you tell me about what happened? Nothing. At least tell me where you were. Here. Lying here? On this same sofa? This one or some other one? Then I guess you didn't see anything. No. Maybe you heard something? Not that either. Footsteps. Footsteps? 3 people heading to the bathrooms, and later the same number of people in the opposite direction. But I didn't look. I don't know who they are. In the same fashion, she turned her head, avoiding Bill's gaze. Did she feel guilty? That could be important, right? Wait, 3? That's what I said, yes. I think we're gonna have to accept this from her. Okay, fine. Then I guess you didn't see anything. I'll let you go back to sleep then. Doesn't seem like a good idea after what happened, though. No response. She wasn't asleep, but it appeared that she had decided to unilaterally end the conversation. Well, not sure if that accomplished much, but I did my best. I hope. At least I tried to. Getting any information out of Coffee was an achievement. It was time to continue the investigation elsewhere. His next goal would be the class trial. 3:42. Once again, that moment had come. His investigation had to conclude to attend the council, which would probably be the most crucial one yet. In the previous hour, he had arrived with a sword hanging above his head, his objective yet to be fulfilled. That sword no longer existed. Rule 9 had vanished, and yet that very death was what made that council even more tense than usual. Even though his life wasn't in any immediate danger, he felt a greater pressure on his shoulders than ever before. On top of the burden of escaping the game, another one had been added. Solving that crime could be easier than escaping, while also requiring a crucial decision that all players had to take. What would they do with the culprit if they found them? Should they avenge Jin, or prioritize keeping Rule 1? The only thing everyone seemed to agree on was that they couldn't let the murderers stay in the shadows. Acting anonymously without a way to stop them. He hadn't managed to reach any conclusion during his investigation, but that was to be expected from a novice like him. His hope was that the few pieces of information he had acquired, put alongside with the other pieces of the council, would complete the puzzle. He reached his seat. Most of them were already there, silent, saving their words for the council, too tensed up to chat, and Lime was no exception. Vodka arrived. With him, everyone was present, save one exception, one that still hurt. With all 9 of them there, hello Soccer Gaming, welcome in. 3:45. It was time to begin. Okay. Okay, I do get plenty of save files. The thing that gets me with what if one of the 3 walking was Jin guy? Oh, the R is red. Interesting. The thing that gets me with that, like, yeah, it's a good suggestion. I just don't know. So where to begin?
The killer, what else?
Hold on. Volume down. This is too loud. Sure, that's the biggest topic, but there's another one we need to cover sooner or later.
Rule 3 as usual.
I'm Rule 8. Okay, piano. Now we can talk about the killer.
But...
What? Any problems?
I don't think it's fair that the youngest one to...
You do it in the next one then. I just want to get that out of the way ASAP.
Shut it. As long as Rule 3 remains alive, all of us will get our turn eventually. Fighting over it's idiotic.
Good morning, Habari.
Anyone willing to vote?
I really don't like this feeling of hostility, but maintaining peace while looking for the killer might be impossible. We'll have to get our hands dirty to dig up the truth, but there has to be some balance between the two. Otherwise...
Apparently not. So now we can get started on the main subject.
Alrighty.
We all agree on catching the culprit, though maybe not quite on what to do with them afterward, correct?
True. Right.
All but the culprit, that is. We'll decide what to do with him when we get there, but we can't have a murderer on the loose if we don't want to end up like her.
Could it be a woman?
Are you all assuming the culprit is male? I don't think there's any doubt.
I agree on that. I don't think that's a good way to go down. I don't think we should jump to conclusions so quickly.
Well, I'm very sure about it. It happened in the men's bathroom.
Yeah. I mean, shit, there's no security to stop us from going to whichever one we want. Hell, that's what Jin did.
That's because the culprit is a man. If it had been between two women, the crime scene would have been the women's.
Unless the culprit was hiding her gender.
I believe we shouldn't focus so much on the bathroom itself. Fine, then I have another argument. The killer had to be strong to jam the doors, and I don't think any girls here could do that, and me neither.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I can't say I've ever tried, but you won't find much muscle here. I can't either. Wait, is my thing not working? Hello? I'm sorry, Habari. I don't know why the throwing system doesn't seem to be throwing. Let me see if I can get you a couple, is it 9? Here. Ah! I will give you items since it didn't work. There you go. Yeah, what kind of pizza did you have? I actually had a cheesesteak pizza yesterday and it was very yummy.
That's a better argument, but still not definitive enough. The culprit could have used a tool to break the locks.
Like what?
I couldn't say. I'm only speculating. I do agree that a man is much more likely, just not a certainty.
Oh, what do you think, Billy? Yeah, I should give my opinion. I think it was most likely a man. It's most likely a man.
Most likely. Do you actually suspect one of us?
No. Well, neither you nor Lime. Sorry, Coffee! Coffee's very unlikely, though. Just a possibility. Not due to my strength, I hope. No, if it were you, you'd need another method. Besides the strength required, now we're 6 men and 3 women.
On that note, you can rule me out. My muscles turned to jelly long ago.
Nobody's suspecting you, Gramps. No need to worry.
Piano could also be ruled out for that reason.
Hey, I'm strong. Maybe not as strong as you, but that's because I'm younger.
Sure, kid.
Ew.
That's enough. Now's not the time for meaningless quarrels.
Well said. The longer we take in finding the killer, the more time they'll have to kill again.
Shouldn't rush it. Truth won't emerge so quickly. We have 2 paths we can take to find it. We can take both, but for now we should focus on one.
Okay. Oh, which paths?
First one's trying to solve this murder case in a regular manner, like the police would.
Okay.
Using what we found through our investigations, yes. Exactly. The other road is only one only possible in this game, knowing that the culprit is in possession of Rule 1. It's using our data and hints. That sounds easier. Would be. There's some downsides.
We'd have to reveal our info, aka put our numbers at risk. Oh, here's our timeout. Should we take that risk, or can we solve this with a normal investigation? Let's take the risk. We'll have to be careful, but the second option should be the fastest and most effective.
Yes, I don't see myself solving a murder. In that case, we should share our data containing number 1.
And how will we know if they're legit? There's a rule that prevents us from making up data, changing it. Which one was it again? Seven.
Actually, Rule 7 has immediate access to all their data. That person could be the key to the case.
That's true.
But if that person can lie, there's no way we can trust anyone.
Good point. Though I doubt Rule 7 would want to protect the killer. True.
They won't protect the culprit, but they can exclude their own number.
I'm lost.
Rule 7 can share data that contains their number, but removing it makes it less precise. That in turn could also mean that any data mentioned that contains 7 can be more trustworthy.
That doesn't worry me too much. Not when there's a murder. That one, that's a much bigger problem. They can protect themselves by leaving their number out, but we can't. If a piece of data contains 1 and your own number, the logical thing to do is keep it a secret, meaning we'll have less information. Why does everything have to be so complicated? Wait, doesn't that mean if someone gives out data with 1 and some other numbers, none of those other ones can be theirs?
Don't say it.
Really think nobody was gonna realize that anyway. Then in that case, saying any data reveals something about your... Ah! No! Intervene! What coffee and poker say makes sense, but even though it's dangerous, the bigger danger is the killer. Are you sure? And I'd say the accusations can be more deadly than them. It requires more people, but it's way simpler and leaves no trace.
Only if enough people can agree on killing and get it right.
Right, and... definitely this one. Sharing a few pieces of data is safe. While sharing our data will make figuring out our numbers easier, we'll be safe as long as we leave some possibilities open.
Possibilities of what?
Of possible numbers we can have. If, for example, the data we share rules out 4 numbers, there's still 5 left. So as long as we don't share too much info and leave the data with a lot of numbers out, there's no way anyone will be able to guess. Especially when it can be, some of it can be fake. And that's reasonable. It appears the data can only contain up to 5 numbers, and it's normally less than that. With only a few pieces containing number 1 and a few others more, we should be safe till we have a chance at catching the murderer. That still means we're in more danger than before. We can't get overconfident. However, I think it's a danger we're taking in order to stop the killer. Yeah. Sounds good. When you put it that way. In that case, those with data including 1, it's your turn. I have 2 of them. One's essential. Now would be the time to reveal them. It's definitely this one. Me. I have data that should be decisive. Well, what a box of surprises you are. Go ahead. Attempted suicide. Oh God. Everyone remains silent faced with such a ghastly piece of data. All but one. Numbers? We won't get anywhere without them. Right. Thing is, it's only 1 and 9. 9? Wait, that can't be right.
You claiming he's 7?
No, shut up for a moment, dude.
What?
Bill? Yes, I know it's hard to believe. I couldn't believe it either. Honestly, even now I still have my doubts.
It's unexpected, truly. And before any smartass starts pointing fingers, though I do complain a lot, I would never.
We already agreed on your innocence, old man. Now's not the time. Okay, let's lay all the cards on the table. If he's not 7 and can't lie, it means that amongst us there's still someone that at some point tried to take their own life. And that person's the killer. But she would never...
Miss, I understand that this is a hard truth to swallow. However, you must understand, it's not what we should be focusing on right now.
True.
If you want to accuse Bill of being Rule 7, you're free to do so. Otherwise, if you want justice to be done, do not sidetrack the conversation.
Got the words right out of my mouth. I have to say, wasn't expecting that to come from you. Where'd your gentleness go, bartender?
I left it on the counter. My apologies, Lime, but for your own good, I saw it appropriate to be honest.
No, you're right. I didn't know her that well, clearly. I can't presuppose anything. It's not that I think he's 7, it's just that it hurts. Sorry, Bill, go on. It's fine, I understand. Although, I don't have much else to say. That's all there is. It's a very personal and delicate subject, but if we figure out who fits this data, we'll have the culprit.
And how do we do that? If it's that young miss seems so strong-willed, and yet she went through something like that. It could practically be anyone. We can't judge a book by its cover.
Well, it's unexpected in her case, but that doesn't mean that'll be the case with the killer too, right?
Does anyone here look clearly suicidal to you?
Don't look at me.
I wasn't.
All right, then, go on.
Nobody, right?
Actually, there's someone that maybe, but...
Oh. A bartender named Cocktail is too fitting. So they're all code names that were assigned to them by the owner of the bar, aka the mastermind. So these aren't their real names, but yeah, it's a little on the nose.
Don't put pressure on the kid. He obviously feels bad about it.
No, why should I care?
Can't blame you. Telling to someone's face that they look like they want to put a hole in their head is generally not very nice. Even though I wouldn't mind if somebody told me that.
And then why did you care so much a moment ago?
Look, I've never considered it seriously, but I won't deny that anyone can assume that of me as soon as they see me. That's why I wanted to make it clear. Piano, you don't need to say it if you don't want to.
I'm not a chicken. We have to catch the one who did it, so... Coffee.
I mean... Yeah, I could see it. I've kind of narrowed her down to be number 2, though.
It's true, she gives off a grim feeling for sure. Sorry to say. At least compared to everyone else.
Hey, apologize to her.
Sorry. Wait, no, I mean, I
was talking to Poker.
already said sorry, ma'am.
I'd never do that.
And I hope not. Life might be full of hardships, believe me, I know. But even so, no matter what happens, you...
Spare us the lecture. She said she didn't. Can we focus?
Focus how? The only thing we can do is make assumptions, which doesn't get us anywhere.
Fair enough.
It's not like I thought it was her anyway.
We have our main suspects. We can't be sure who's guilty with this, but we can get close.
And I refuse to speculate about someone's life like this. There has to be a better way.
Use if you want. We can do it in your stead. Did you forget that one of us is a murderer? We aren't friends, not even strangers that we have to respect. We're rivals.
And how can you be so twisted?
Twisted? I don't do this as a hobby. I'm only being objective.
I don't like it, but I agree with Darts. To stop the killer, we have to take advantage of any data possible, especially one this major.
Can't stop surprising me, can you? Does anyone have anything more to add? It's one of the suspects fucking sucks, but I agree.
I do as well.
You four are the main suspects, right?
Yeah, I guess I'm one of them, sadly. Bimbo's innocent. He has to be. Thanks for the support.
So, do we have to consider who's the most likely suspect? Pretty much. Which one of us is most likely to have tried biting the dust in the past?
The same as Poker previously, I'm sorry to say this, but if I have to choose, my intuition is saying that the most likely to fit the criteria is Billiards.
Oh.
Me? He does seem to be the most fragile, I suppose.
But we shared the data. Hi. Well, that might seem to be true when looking at the others. Jin didn't. She didn't.
Exactly, like I said, this is pointless. On top of being terrible.
One thing I'll say is I don't like letting impressions cloud my judgment, so I agree with that. Jin shows us we need to go beyond.
Absolutely.
We need to know the person in depth to know what they really hide. We don't have that privilege, however, nor the time or position to do so. It's for that reason that I only gave a superficial opinion. Guy, you're over here gunning for poor Cocktail. Why do you hate him so much? I have to know.
Just keep in mind that we're talking about someone capable of killing. Regardless of how much he seems to fit that data, more than us anyway, I have a hard time seeing him as a killer. My main suspect's actually...
Dart's eyes moved around the table, looking at everyone present, stopping it. Me? But you just said...
Bill, tell me. Do you not notice anything strange in Poker's behavior?
Poker's?
Ah! This might be fun. Go on, Sherlock, what's so strange about me? For starters, seems like Jin's death hit you hard. You didn't hold back your rage at all. It's what you find strange?
Yeah, a little bit.
Not that. Where'd that fury go? Now I only see a smile. There it is. Didn't go too far after all. Want a demo of how real this fury is? If you're the culprit, I can give you a preview right now. Threats of violence, huh? Wonder who the killer could be.
The conversation came to a sudden end. Someone had decided to make a move. If a majority were to choose correctly, the killer would meet their end. Otherwise, if a majority failed, one suspect could be ruled out. At first glance, there didn't seem to be any downsides to it. The only negative outcome was a lack of a majority vote, in which case nothing would occur. Still, is it right to condemn the killer? Ooh. From Bill's perspective, it wasn't simply a matter of maintaining the rule in play to avoid more murders. The culprit had done the unforgivable, the biggest sin of all. Yet Bill's goal was to save everyone, regardless of how little he knew of them. Whether they were good or bad people never mattered. Even if they could be potential killers, he never wanted any deaths. Jin's hadn't changed that. Jin's killer had to be stopped to avoid further deaths so they could be judged for their crimes alongside the person behind the game. And for that to happen, they had to remain alive. If he chose correctly or decided to abstain, he ran the risk of contributing to ending someone's life. Yet he couldn't stop thinking about the possibility of reducing the number of suspects. Time was running out. The barman's screen facing him awaited his answer. Well, here, for Guy's sake, we'll accuse Cocktail. No one obtained a majority vote. Can I go back? Can I vote for someone else? Another accusation had ended in failure. Not the best result or the worst either. Hold on. It's still too soon to find the culprit.
Sure, and now what? Where do we go from here? No one has anything else to add. Think it might be time to shift our method.
Oh, let's do it then. Can I get to my barman, please? That'd be really what?
What in the world? You can't even understand them these days with all these outlandish made-up words.
All words are made up. Accusal initiated against Rule 2.
Oh, now see this. I do think I know this. An unexpected second round has arrived and with an unexpected number. Someone wished to kill the one chaining them to that bar. The search for one had made them forget about it completely. Ooh. Once again, barely a few minutes later, he was being confronted with that dilemma. This time, however, the number on trial was very different. His answer was, I have to pick coffee here because I'm so sure that she's rule 2. Coffee obtained about... Oh, she's... What? Oh? What? Why her?
My apologies, miss. Thing is, your presence isn't very strongly felt most of the time, so it feels like you're not in the bar sometimes.
I believe that's the reason for this result. I was so sure she was number 2. Oh, okay. Okay, that's all you have to say, really? Woman of very few words, them's the breaks. I got nothing else to add.
This new generation is incredible. So much communication with so little effort.
Right, what number's next? Third time's the charm. Jesus.
You want another one?
Just kidding, man. Not that I'd be shocked at this point if we got another one. This thing heated up.
No doubt. Not surprising after a murder, to be fair.
Huh. Right on, so instead of waiting for the next one to get the jump on us, we should get back to the data. What? Another timeout. Alright. I kind of want to go back. I should tell them about the other one. Ooh. We probably should share the other data. I think I'm gonna let somebody else talk. You want me to go back? I want to keep going because, like, we know that there's multiple endings, so going this way is not a bad idea.
I have one with one.
One with one sounds funny.
Not the time for laughs. Right, hilarious joke. Wait, you did it on purpose? I wouldn't call that a joke, really. Anyway, let's get down to it. I got one that said, let me check this gizmo.
Gizmo, there's still people using that word?
I do, young man.
Come on, Grandpa.
How impatient. Let's see, where was it? Here it is. Are smokers. 1, 3, 5, 7, 10.
Everyone's attention inevitably shifted to Cigar. That's another point against Poker, though, too. There was little doubt she was innocent, but they couldn't completely rule it out. Still, even if she was, that piece of data put her number in danger.
Vodka, why? Oh, true. You have smoked here before, haven't you? And your pseudonym is quite telling. Excuse me, it didn't cross my mind. I can understand, but...
Wait a minute, there's somebody else. Calm down, not everything's been lost. Even removing the 1, there's 4 other numbers in it. We'll have to be very careful, but you shouldn't be in any immediate danger.
But just one more data could be enough to figure out my number.
I already know your number. No matter how careful we are, it's not gonna be easy. Not like we got another choice, though. Sharing data was gonna result in victims sooner or later.
Sadly, yes. We have to find the killer as soon as possible to avoid any other cases like this. So much drama for a few numbers. You're alive and kicking, madam. That's all that matters. Life will always mean danger, yet here I am, still alive.
And not everyone will get to your age go... I don't know what that says.
Better that way, trust me, don't recommend it. Fine, I'll try to calm down.
Oh, good.
I probably won't succeed, but it's true that there's no point in crying about what can't be undone. Now that everyone knows that data, we have to get all the use we can out of it.
Yes.
Who else smokes?
We know Poker does.
Guess the least I can do is apologize and raise my hand. Do you smoke?
A lot of older people do. It was more normal in that time, so it shouldn't be a surprise.
I'm aware that's not what's odd. Being the one who gave out that data, why would you when it includes yourself?
There's 5 numbers. Even if he didn't smoke, 5 of them would be crossed out anyway. Oh, little Mozart's very smart. Of course I am. The what?
I'm afraid it's not as clever as it sounds.
Hey!
Even if it's 5 numbers, it's still better for him to keep it secret. Besides, we know who 9 was. Jen, and she wasn't included. He's got a point.
It's not really half the numbers anymore.
I thought I had made very clear how little I care of a care I have for what happens to me here, which is why I'd rather give a hand in finding the criminal. Is this what I get for being generous for once? Bah! Your intentions might have been good, but the collateral damage still exists.
Guy, can you timestamp this point in time too? I just saw another bug. It was a visual bug. I don't know if you guys caught it, but Cigar's tears were over here and then slid onto her eyes as the table turned. Jägermeister wife is hi, hello, how are you? Thanks, Guy.
I get it, I really do. However, you've got one thing wrong. I did indeed smoke long ago. I quit.
But you said you didn't care about your life. I'm doing alright.
I'll say it again. It was long ago when I still had some life ahead of me. Unlike now, as this bar seems to be the last thing I'll ever see.
Oh my goodness! Thank you so much for the flowers. I super appreciate it. Thank you, thank you.
Then the data doesn't apply to you.
The phrasing is in present time. Unless he's lying, it shouldn't count.
Caffeine's awake. Top of the morning.
I wasn't asleep.
Either way, I did my part. It's someone else's turn now.
Where's her hand? What's with all the visual bugs? You guys caught that one, right? She had no hand. There, see?
No one? I wasn't sure because it felt a bit dangerous to share data, but I'll do it for Jin. Have a college degree. 1379.
Jin had 9, so if we find one who fits, they'll be the culprit. Almost for sure.
Oh, things are getting interesting. Good the young ones have finished college. We don't know their ages, but the youngest ones here, besides Piano, who's clearly too young, are Coffee, Bill, Lime, and Darts.
I'm working on it. Haven't finished my degree yet. Okay.
I'm not old enough to have one.
Right, I had that feeling. You're probably slightly under 20. Bill and Darts, though, could have ended college, maybe.
Maybe. How young do you think I am? I obviously could have. Not something you should be admitting to right now. I know, but I won't deny what should be evident. And no, I don't have any degree.
I sense some ire in your voice.
Shut up, geezer.
A touchy subject, I see.
Well, maybe he's too. Hold on. I could put him down to possibly be 2. Because I could also see him speaking like that to somebody.
How about you, Bill?
Oh, I haven't gone to college. And the rest? Most of you probably did, didn't you? As if it was so simple, kid. I wish I had a degree, but nope, nothing.
Same here, to be honest. That's something I regret a bit. I tried with no results, unfortunately. So nobody, how unexpected.
3 people are lying, no shit. No idea who they are, though. You want me to be honest? I think Piano has a degree. I think he's some child genius. I've thought this for a while now. I would not be surprised if Piano's one of the ones with a degree. Update my...
So what do we do? Try more data?
Wait, sorry for barging in, but we're running out of time.
Seriously, didn't notice the time. We'll have to end it here then.
Okay.
No way, we have to find the killer. There's no rule saying we can only talk in councils. We can get our drinks and...
While that is the case, I think we should use our time and limited freedom searching and thinking. And relax a bit, please. If we keep going until we solve this, I'll end up falling over.
A nap would be quite nice.
Not a great idea with a killer around.
Fair, true.
Anyway, if anyone wants to keep talking without me, I won't stop them. But I do need a break.
Not against the idea of continuing at the counter, but I'd rather have everyone present. Like the bartender says, we shouldn't waste our chance to investigate. There's still clues to find.
I don't like having to depend on clues, but clearly we need them.
That's for sure, because I don't have much more of a clue as to what happened than before all this chatter. If another one dies, don't say I didn't warn you.
Right, splitting up is dangerous. We should be in groups at least.
We already went over that an hour ago and it didn't lead to anything. I work alone. Can't really rely on our potential rivals. Got that right. It's a competitive game after all. Can't be too trustful.
Jeez, what a bunch of toughies we have here. You two sure think you're strong if you don't fear the killer, but what about us, huh?
Yeah, you're not so tough. You're the one saying that, kid? Well, I am tough. Maybe not in body, but I don't have any fear.
Right. In the end, we'll all do whatever we want. We won't be changing anyone's mind on this. So let's end it here. Yeah. Wait, before that, there's something I have to say. Almost forgot about it. Searching the bathroom, I noticed something that might be important. Did anyone see the barman?
Chins, didn't come to mind, honestly.
Are you saying it's gone? I didn't find it in her pockets or her surroundings. I didn't search through the whole bathroom, but it shouldn't be far from her.
What?
Honestly, I didn't see it either. Just like poker, it didn't cross my mind. Was Bill seriously the only one who noticed that something so important was missing? Might seem obvious now, but we're not detectives, not even the amateurs. Don't blame us when you didn't even go in, miss. What's odd is the darts didn't notice it. Anything to say? You're very quiet all of a sudden.
Of course, she'd be the one to notice it. Believe me or don't, but I didn't notice the barman's disappearance as well.
Oh, you did?
And you kept it to yourself?
That's really sus.
Hey, a good reason. Wanted to see if anyone would bring it up. Or of the possible suspects, only Bill did it. Well, I can't fathom what possible reason the culprit could have had in taking the barman. Unable to see its contents, something's undeniable. They wouldn't be the one to mention it.
Of course, I hadn't thought about that.
And yet, it took you this long to mention it. In any case, we can talk about this in the next council.
Okay. So, Bill's innocent then, right? Most likely.
Not necessarily, but it's less likely than before, though he was already low on the list of most likely suspects. Unlike you didn't mention it either until somebody else did. You could have made all this up right now. Like I said, believe me or don't. Your choice.
But it makes no sense. Why would the culprit... Oh wait, if we check everyone's pockets, maybe...
Highly doubt that thief would be stupid enough to carry around 2 barmen during a council. But sure, let's do it. I have nothing to hide.
Let's do that after closing up the council. After that, might as well check the bathroom again in case it comes up somewhere. It'd make more sense than someone stealing it. Reaching an agreement once again, they used their barman to put an end to it. Chapter end. Well, I have some things that I'm I'm certain of some numbers and I'm not certain of others. A lot of speculation. We are going to call it here. That is how we've been doing it, 1 chapter per stream. So we're going to call it. Gosh, there's so many things that could be going on here. You like the voices I made up for the characters? Thank you. I tend to do it with a lot of games that have a lot of talking, but not a lot of actual voice acting, or none at all. So I'm glad you like it. Let's see if we can find some raids to go on, though. That would be nice, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it? Thank you to those who have been interacting with the shorts I've been putting out. Super appreciated. We've had a few hit some really, really good numbers. And we're currently at 2,805 on YouTube and 397 on Twitch. I see. Okay. Interesting. Hello, welcome in. We're actually ending, but hi. Let's see. Mute this. I have a lot of speculation going on. So we didn't get an answer on whether cocktail was number one, but I honestly think it's more likely, at least at this point, that it's no, you know what? I think poker's a red herring. And why I think poker's a red herring, now that I'm thinking about it, they made a big show of him asking a cigar for cigarettes, but they didn't bring it up just now. And I'm like, what the fuck's up with that? Because, like, they made a big scene of it, right? Nummy catnip. So, like, why would they make a big scene about it, then not have it talked about when people smoking comes up, even though we already know that he smokes? Right? 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 Like that. That seems like a. I don't see anybody afraid on YouTube. That kind of sucks. See if we can find anybody on Twitch. Honestly, we could just go without rating tonight if there's nobody great. Let's see. Anybody? Bueller. I don't really see anybody I want to raid tonight. We're just gonna leave it be. Yeah, I'm just gonna call it a night here. I think that this was good. We've got a lot of information. We got a lot of speculation. I still don't know what I'm doing tomorrow night for stream. I have had a few people ask me when I'm going to do another Uma stream, so that's a potential possibility. I might also whip out the mahjong. I've been waiting to do it for a little while now. Although I might have to be careful. It can be kind of lewd. Some of the characters have some sus animations. Maybe I'll keep that. I think I'm probably gonna keep mahjong to Twitch when I do mahjong. Especially since my character has some of my characters have pretty sus animations. On that note, I still don't know what I'm doing for tomorrow. We'll figure it out. Maybe, possibly. There's a lot of stuff that can be done. I'll probably be hanging around in the Discord for a while. I mean, I've been drinking caffeine, which I probably shouldn't have been doing. But I need to fix my sleep schedule, so let me have this. But that's going to be it for tonight. I hope everybody had a fantastic time, and I hope to see you tomorrow for whatever it may be that we happen to do. But until next time, bye!